Man, all types of crazy stuff is happening in America. You guys already know what time it is. Oxygen levels.
Oxygen levels are reading 100%.
Set a course to Dark Waters 9.
We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it.
What's in Greenland? What's the big deal about Greenland?
Is there anything they can offer you for a deal?
If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will, and I'm not letting that happen. If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will take Greenland, and I am not going to let that happen.
Is there any deal they can offer you? Either like
yeah, sure. I'd love to make a deal with them. It's easier. But one way or the other, we're going to have Greenland.
Are you okay if that compromises NATO? If NATO effectively ceases to exist?
I've done a great job. I'm the one that saved NATO. I'm the one that got them to pay 5% of GDP. Wait a minute. It was 2%, and they didn't pay. Now they're paying 5%. I'm the one that saved NATO. You wouldn't have NATO if I weren't president.
Would you pull the U.S. out of NATO? Would you consider doing that?
Well, maybe NATO would be upset if I did it. Maybe NATO would save a lot of money. But I like NATO. I just wonder whether or not if we needed NATO, would they be there for us? I'm not sure they would. We spent a lot of money on NATO, and I'm not sure they would. And if it affects NATO, then it affects NATO. But they need us much more than we need them. I will tell you that right now.
Is there anything?
People are trying to figure out, why does Donald Trump want to annex Greenland? I have the key. Stop thinking about the facts. People are looking at Arctic and minerals and things like that. It's none of that. Denmark has already said the United States can have all the basic rights at once. It can have mineral rights. Danes have been willing to give the U.S. all these things, and we had dozens of bases in Greenland in the past. We're the ones that closed them down. No, the key to understanding it is Trump has said that he feels psychologically it would be better if we own it.
We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not. When we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it.
Remember, he's a real estate developer. He doesn't want to lease. He doesn't want to rent. He wants to buy. That is the key to understanding why the United States seems poised to break up the NATO alliance, the most successful, longest-term alliance in human history, because Trump is a real estate developer.
I try to stay out of politics. I hated social studies growing up. It just was like, I don't care about the Mayflower. I don't care about none of this stuff that they trying to share with us. What is NATO? The North Atlantic Treaty Organization is a political and military alliance of 32 members and countries from Europe and North America. Interesting. I think you guys all know where I'm about to go with this. Isn't this giving you Antarctic treaty vibes?
What if the US military just took Greenland by force? The invasion would look shockingly easy. Greenland has just 56,000 people, no standing army, only a small Danish dog sled patrol. The US could take the capital in hours, and it's done. But here's where the nightmare begins. Denmark's prime minister said if the US takes Greenland, NATO is over. And this is not an empty. 7 major European powers, France, Germany, the UK, Italy, Poland, Spain, have publicly backed Denmark. And Denmark isn't some random country. They lost more soldiers per capita in Afghanistan than any country except the United States itself. Now Trump wants. So America gets Greenland, but loses NATO, the entire European alliance gone. And for what? 38 million tons of rare earth minerals that would take decades and billions to extract, and still have to be sent to China for processing, because China controls 90% of global refining. So Trump wouldn't be winning a prize. He would be destroying 75 years of trust for an island he can't even use. This isn't a strategy, it's a trap, and America would walk straight into it.
Donald Trump has just ordered the U.S. military to prepare for action against Greenland. Yes, within the next few hours, the United States could potentially launch military operations in Greenland. After this order, tensions between Europe and America have dramatically escalated. Denmark has openly warned Washington, if the US carries out any operation in Greenland, Denmark will retaliate. Danish forces have begun deploying additional troops to the island and placed all units on the highest level of alert. NATO has now stepped in. The alliance has announced full and unwavering support for Denmark. France has gone even further. France has reportedly deployed a nuclear submarine near Greenland, a direct warning to Washington. Germany has also backed Denmark, promising military and logistical support. The United Kingdom has joined Denmark as well. Despite massive backlash, Trump is standing his ground. He says the US must take Greenland because it is critical to American security. Trump claims Greenland is surrounded by Russian and Chinese warships, and if the US does not act, China or Russia could take control. In the end, we pray for peace.
Trump thinks he's playing Clash of Clans. Oh my goodness. Like, this is going to be a big year, guys. Just wanted to take a time to quick look at this UN map. A lot of people believe this is one of the most accurate views of Middle Earth. And I just wanted to take the time to actually look at Greenland on this map. You know, last week we dove into a video about how this right here could potentially be the North Pole. And if you ask me, Greenland is closest to the North Pole. So not only do they have valuable resources, I mean, look how close they are to the North Pole. You know, are they getting ready to prepare for something? You know, it's interesting. Like, I'm not tripping, right? This is Greenland right here. This is the man of the hour right here. And, you know, people say that a giant vortex, you can even get into Agartha through the middle. So I just find it extremely fascinating that they're trying to acquire Greenland right now. Along with this currency, the penny going away. Yeah, did you hear that? The penny is going away. Oh, don't worry, we're going to dive into that too. Just a quick recap, if you don't remember, people are theorizing that this is actually at the North Pole, and Greenland appears to be very close to this on the map. So what really is going on?
Do you know what this place is? It's located in the center of the North Pole. And it's the center of the Earth magnetic field, known as the Taurus field. That black thing in the center of the whirlwind is the tallest mountain on Earth, far more taller than the Mount Everest. It's so tall that even it peaks reaching out the clouds. It's the Rupes Nigra, or the Black Rock, also known as Mount Mary. Some people also called it Mount Zion. You wouldn't find this massive mountain existence in mainstream science and media because it's deliberately concealed. Because if the world knew that there is such a huge mountain in the center of the Earth, it would change the course of history. This includes the true nature of our world will be rewritten. And that will undo Earth theory and the entire timeline of the Earth from the beginning. And they don't want that. Look how the wind stream passes through that mountain. It blocks the wind stream because of its height and size. The Rupes Nigra, or the Black Rock, described by Mercator as 33 French miles in size, or roughly 40 miles in diameter. It's purportedly explain why all compasses point to this location. The biggest shareholder of all the major companies in the world is BlackRock. It's named after this mountain. Do you know what this place is?
And real quick, I believe this is Greenland right here. And what you saw that just took place is right here, dead center at the North Pole, is the theory. And if we take a look at Greenland, it's right next door. So are they trying to secure like a strategic position so they can be the closest to the North Pole is the question. Now what you're about to watch next is extremely rare footage of the North Pole.
This is footage seen from a Russian military plane. This is what the North Pole looks like. A huge vortex. Now, everyone knows that the North Pole is a magnetic pole. So how does this apply to flat Earth? If the North Pole is the center of the map, the center of the magnetic pole, where the aurora borealis is known to be seen. In fact, the colors of the aurora borealis are formed due to the electron field that changes the color of the hosts in the atmosphere. That's how strong the Earth's North Pole is. As in this small example. So, doesn't that vortex seen from planes look like a portal to you? The same shape as the aurora borealis. And the sun and moon fulfill the role of the magnetic ball in the prototype. Everything makes sense. As you can see, it's like a huge round magnet with a hole in the middle. The South Pole, that is, Antarctica, or rather the ice wall, is the edge of the round magnet. This means that Antarctica is not a minus or a plus pole. Antarctica is magnetized with both poles, minus and plus. Also, the center of the map, that is the North Pole, is not polarized as being minus or a plus pole. On the contrary, it is an accumulation of positive and negative electrons. An electron pressure, which creates a vortex, a portal, and is also seen in the form.
When you see the arrows pointed towards Greenland.
Of the aurora borealis influencing that magnetic field, the ozone layer. So, Antarctica is magnetized with both poles, minus and plus. Also the center of the map, that is. The North Pole is not polarized, as being minus or plus pole. This is footage seen from a Russian military plane.
Look at how it just is a hole in the... And I feel like the ionosphere just sucking in all that energy, man. How crazy is this? Just a theory, by the way. This entire video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research on everything for context. It is just theories.
Say goodbye to the penny because the government is officially phasing it out. The U.S. Mint has made its final order of penny blanks and plans to stop producing the coin when those run out. According to the Treasury Department, the 1-cent coin actually costs nearly 4 cents to make. The Trump administration says eliminating the penny is expected to save the country $56 million a year.
So what does this mean? Is the penny going to be worth more? What's going to happen to all the pennies that's already here? And how is the even system going to work? Are they going to round up? You know, are they going to round down? What is this going to do to the economy? Are they trying to phase out currency and make it all digital?
Penny elimination. I'm sure you haven't seen anything about this because social media is not going to push this. The government is no longer going to be creating new pennies. What that means is if you go into a store and your purchase comes up to $10.01, they will round your bill up to $10.05. All purchases are going to be rounded up to the nearest nickel. And you may say, oh, that's only 4 cents. But you have to think about it. If you have 1 million people that go into a store and all of their purchases are increased by 4 cents to round it up for convenience sake, how much money are these corporations making? Does the money go to corporations or is this money going to the reserve? Or does it go to somebody else's pocket that we don't know about? This is disgusting. The fact that nobody is talking about this, and going into the holiday season, some stores are no longer going to allow you to use cash at self-checkout. This is something that has been in place for a little while. In a lot of stores, you have probably noticed that they have been talking about pushing the agenda where self-checkout is for card only. And if you want to use cash, you have to go to a register. 9 times out of 10, they will have 15 registers, but only 1 person is available at that register. They're trying to push us to use cards and get away from cash. This is very scary. I would like to talk about this a little bit more, but first I need people to actually go look it up so that you can also confirm that penny elimination is real, and then we can talk about it. Penny elimination, I'm sure.
It sounds like they're trying to make it all digital. You know, how many stores do you go to and they got lanes that already say card only? You know what I'm saying? This actually is scary because it's like, what is 2026 going to hold? What type of agenda? What is going on? And on top of all this madness, look at what the workers at the U.S. Postal Office recently said.
So, does the U.S. Postal Service know something that we don't? And why do I say that? Because they issued a letter to both their employees and contractors, a letter that they have not given out since the pandemic. You heard what I said. The letter that they issued to both their employees and their contractors is a letter that they provided back in 2020. And the letter that I'm referring to is right behind me. It was issued to its postal employees and contractors on January 5th of 2026. The subject line reads, "Postal employees continue to provide essential services." And remember, the key word is essential. The letter also states inside that during large-scale emergencies, epidemics, emergencies, or even civil unrest, states and localities may issue curfew warnings and other directives such as restricted travel. So basically what the letter is saying, that if anything like that occurs, postal services are governed by federal law. So therefore, that places them in the essential category. And what's weird about it, the letter goes on to state, even though it's dated this year, that employees and contractors should carry this letter with them to and from work and as they work. And it also states that it's critical that all postal employees and its contractors carry their identification at all times. And it also goes on to tell them that if they encounter anyone, such as law enforcement, that stops them while they are traveling, they are to present this letter to them. So the question we need to be asking is what is actually going on, or is possibly going to allegedly be happening, that this letter was issued with this year's date back on January 5th. Now, I know people will say, well, that's a standard issued letter. Okay, so if it's a bulletin, then it's a bulletin that they will just have, and in the event of something happening, they'll just have to get a copy of it. Am I correct? But why reissue it in the year 2026? So once again, the terms travel restrictions and essential employees are back in the year 2026. So once again, I guess my question to you is, what is going on, or what is about to occur? And if anyone out there is an employee of this right here, hit us up in the comments and let us know if you received that letter and why you received that letter so we can get some clarification. I will leave it on this note. Hit me up in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you. Here's a copy of the letter. I'm going to put it on the screen so you can screen grab it and read it for yourself.
If you guys work in the postal service or know anybody, is this true? Drop it in the comments below. On top of Greenland, this the penny going away, this letter getting issued out, what is really going on in America right now, y'all?
All the fog, people getting sick with the flu, the infectious bacteria, the lines in the sky, and even the birds. We've pretty much touched on it all. So if you've seen the videos, then this one's gonna make a whole lot of sense. We're just gonna talk some coincidences and tie up some loose ends. You ready? All right. It started here with the Manhattan Project and the race for the atomic bomb.
It was the code name for the U.S. government's program to develop the world's first atomic bomb.
And along with that came all the widespread. And this is where the fog comes into play, because not only were they creating it in St. Louis,
a secret government experiment that was carried out in St. Louis. Residents tell us they still remember a mysterious fog.
And we talked about how they pumped bacteria into the fog at San Francisco Bay.
To use a fireboat to spray germs into the fog in San Francisco Harbor.
And we also talked about microplastics and how they're in everything, from our brains to the clouds, the fog, and even the birds. And their potential. And things like the superflu that everybody seems to have right now. So let's talk coincidence. The Manhattan Project and all their experiments. everything from feeding to pumping nuclear contamination fogs over St. Louis, Missouri and Corpus Christi, Texas.
In Texas, planes were used to drop the chemical, but in St. Louis, the Army placed chemical sprayers on buildings and station wagons.
Now, I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but let me introduce you to, this is Henry Rushman, a rancher turned machinist and the accidental inventor of glitter. Something that's been used on cosmetics, lip gloss, fighter jets, boats, fishing lure, and everything else. And also a pretty interesting rabbit hole all on its own.
Means someone is buying up boatloads of glitter and using it for their products or projects of some sort.
Spraying the glitter?
And GlitterX is not allowed to tell us who it is.
What started off as glass shards and little bits of aluminum, in 1934, he started using little tiny pieces of plastic. Bought a farm, opened a shop, and in 1948, he started production on glitter to the American public. Which is interesting, because that's 1 year after he got done working on the Manhattan Project. And let me just remind you, the term microplastics didn't come into play till 2004. So what do you think it was called before that? But anyway, glitter wasn't the only thing Henry was into. He started a company named Meadowbrook Inventions, and that's where he made the glitter. But that's not the only thing they make. They're also the lead producer in geometric microparticles, which is mainly used in biomedical research, like mapping out blood flow inside the body. These are microparticles that shapeshift and self-navigate inside the body and used in micro-robots. So the person that created glitter, which is basically microplastics, also created micro-robots? I don't know about you, but that really makes me wonder what's really in our skies. And since we're talking about micro-robots, this is Richard Feynman, a physics professor at Cornell, as well as the father of nanotechnology. And I'm sure it's just all a big coincidence, but just like the glitter guy, Richard started his career in nanotechnology after his work on the Manhattan Project. So we got the fog from the radiation testing in the Manhattan Project, the glitter turned microplastic that's in our skies now, and then we can add smart dust, the latest nanotechnology, which would basically look like thick fog. Add all that together, and it really makes me question what's going on in our skies in the current day, across the map. But what do you think? Let me know, and stay safe.
Man, shout out to Chaotic Concept. That's got me really thinking about glitter in itself. Why exactly is it so mysterious and not anyone really knows what it's made out of?
Yo, the glitter conspiracy is a rabbit hole you are not ready for. So I didn't know this, but there's legit only like 2 main manufacturers of glitter in the world, both of which are based in New Jersey, of all places. And yes, I'm talking like regular glitter, the same stuff you use in arts and crafts. One of these companies is like super secret and private, that apparently invented glitter themselves and is very hush-hush about everything. And the other is GlitterX. No one really thought much of it until it came out that we actually have a worldwide shortage of glitter back in 2018. Kind of a weird thing to be short of. So a journalist from the New York Times went in to interview the team at GlitterX to find out. She casually asked if she could tour the factory, and surprisingly, GlitterX told her absolutely not. Like, there was no debate about it. She was strictly not allowed to see how glitter was made, and wasn't even allowed to be in a nearby room to even hear how it's made. So instead, she was just left to interview a manager at the company, and things just kept getting sketchier. She asks the manager if she could tell her what industry serves as her biggest market, and the GlitterX rep instantly, without hesitation, tells her, no, I absolutely cannot tell you. Confused, the journalist asks her if she knows who their biggest customer is, and she replies with, Oh god, yes, and you would never guess it. Let's just leave it at that. Asking why she can't talk about it, she responds by saying because they don't want anyone to know that it is glitter, and that if you looked at it, you wouldn't even know that it's glitter. The journalist then asks if you'd even be able to see the glitter at all in the finished product, to which the manager replies, oh, you'd be able to see something, but it's, yeah, I can't. And this interview single-handedly sparked the great glitter rabbit hole of the internet. Apparently, these clients that purchase glitter are all under a very strict confidentiality clause with GlitterX. They really do not want people to know that their products are made from the sparkly stuff. The industry these products are part of is clearly massive, yet no one knows what it is. So what even is glitter? By definition, it is aluminum metallized polyethylene terephthalate, essentially plastic that has been aluminized and shredded into tiny specks that sparkle. And it's used in a lot of things, from credit cards, passports, currency, football helmets, cosmetics, jet skis, granite countertops, even toothpaste, allegedly. But none of these are quite big enough to be this top industry buyer of glitter. One of the leading theories is that this biggest glitter industry is for boat paint, which many manufacturers do admit they use it in their boats. And they don't want people to know about it because of how much microplastics in the glitter these boats are really dumping into the ocean, which is a hot topic these days and is why they'd want to keep it such a secret. Others claim that it's being dumped into beaches to make the sand sparkle, or that it's just Crest toothpaste and we're rubbing the microplastics directly into our gums, as well as for use in military applications, which would obviously be highly classified, and this is where the theory takes an unexpected turn. Remember that super secret
I use Sensodyne anyway.
company that basically founded glitter, the other New Jersey company that isn't GlitterX? Turns out they're actually not as big of a secret as they'd like to be, called Meadowbrook Inventions, which was founded by Henry F. Rushman, a German-American machinist who invented modern glitter in the 1930s, and also happened to be part of the Manhattan Project, the highly classified operation that created the atom bomb. So the guy who invented glitter also helped create the world's first nuclear weapon. Who would have known? Meadowbrook's machines that make glitter are also commonly used for government contracts for products like rocket fuel, airplane brake shoes, and anti-radar chaff, which are chopped up fibers they shoot out of military planes that can block radar, redirect heat-seeking missiles, and can even be used to simulate poor weather conditions on radar. Good thing the government would never do that. Henry W. Rushman, the son of the original creator, was interviewed and even admitted to what they were really using glitter for all these years, specifically mentioning money, passports, toothpaste, and all those military applications like that anti-radar chaff, and even mentioned it was used in special batteries they produced for a military contractor called Picatinny Arsenal. Batteries that he claimed produce more electricity than any other battery we've ever known, and was pretty quiet about it after that. If there's anything we've learned about the government, it's that they love spending money, and their budget is essentially endless, especially if it's for the military. And given all these military uses of glitter, as well as its founder's roots in the Manhattan Projects and connection to atomic bombs, this one might be our answer. What other industry could be so secret that the New York Times article described it as CIA levels of obfuscation? How about the CIA itself? Perhaps once again the government is behind it all, using the same sparkly powder found in children's art projects for military applications, fighter jets, rocket fuel, money, and passports. Possibly even some new high-tech super battery they don't want the rest of us to know about. What a plot twist that would be if glitter of all things ends up being the government's top secret weapon to control the masses. Yo, the glitter conspiracy is a rabbit.
They're turning it into smart dust. That would be absolute wild. All right, guys, it's that time of the day again. If you thought you weren't going to get another excellent specimen of the day, think again. You can only choose one. Which piece you're trying to go home with? Wow, that looks like a piece of meat. That looks like a light blue tourmaline. That looks like another tourmaline. Oh, I was right. You could see it. Yeah, these all look like tourmalines. But if I had to pick one, man, it would be this one. Look at how crazy this piece is. That's the specimen of the day right there. 100%. And this, doesn't that look like a chunk of steak? That pink one back there isn't bad either. That bubblegum tower back there. Do you see that? Wow. Call that one bubblegum tower. But I want to go back to that first piece. That one that looked like a hand. Yeah, this one. Look at how extraordinary this is from Brazil. Damn, what would y'all call this? I don't even know where to begin. If I had to name it, I want to say petrified licorice, but I could do better than that, man. But that's the best I got. Like a petrified licorice. It kind of looks like those old school Connects we used to play with back in the day too. But I don't know. What would you guys name that specimen? I want to hear it in the comments below. It's a close fight, man, between that bubblegum tower and that petrified licorice. Extraordinary. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video or learned something. I do my absolute best and I think about you guys all the time, and I really try to bring the heat and do my absolute best every time I come out and do these videos. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for giving me the opportunity and hanging with me. I might be a little bit biased, but again, I have one of the best communities on YouTube. We're all respectable. We're all learning together. And I just want to thank you guys for taking time out your day to watch this video and hanging out with me. It means a lot. And I'm going to continue doing my best every single day to really bring the bangers to you guys. The code word for today is Greenland. Go ahead and drop Greenland in the comments below. When you do that, that shows you really rock with your mans and made it all the way through the video. And I just want to say thank you for your support. Be on the lookout for Jet Ski Chuck, because I'm probably going to be going live either today or tomorrow, and you don't want to miss out on any of that action. This was the most mysterious TikToks on the internet today. See you later.